Hello everyone, Mike here again. I want to thank you for bearing with us as we work through how we as schools are going to deal with the COVID-19 virus, which is currently having such an impact on our world. I want to thank you especially for all of those of you who have spoken with me in car parks or have sent me in emails encouraging us in our endeavours to ensure that Tyndale remains both a safe but also healthy place. We greatly appreciate that. I also want to thank those families who have written to me raising concerns that they have, and I hope that we've been able to answer those, or that this video today will also be able to answer those concerns that you have. If you do have any ongoing concerns, please don't hesitate to contact our local principals at any of the three schools or the sub-schools at Salisbury East and have those conversations with them, and we will try to address them as quickly and expeditiously as possible. I'm using this medium because it means that every family member engaged at the school gets to hear the school's response to some of those questions, and I hope that this will enable you to have confidence that we're working on keeping our place safe as possible, and that we're doing the best that we can. In that regard, you'll know that both federal and state governments have made further announcements over the weekend, and that effectively as of tomorrow, every state in Australia will have its borders closed and will be confined communities. And this is an unprecedented step to take, but they believe this is a necessary one to try to limit the spread of the virus. We again indicate our full support for the measures that government are putting into place. So the big thing is that as of yesterday, as of last night, people travelling back from interstate have to self-isolate. So this is not now just an international ban, but it's an interstate ban that you must self-isolate if you've been travelling interstate. Now, theoretically, it only came in last night, but if you travelled at all over the weekend or the few days preceding that, we are strongly saying to you, please don't bring your children to school. We believe that while the ban's only coming into place and the borders are only supposedly closing tomorrow night, and we just want to say to you, please don't bring your children to school. Please self-isolate. Please do the right thing. Please make sure that you're looking after everybody else. While the government is saying that schools need to remain open, that people travelling back before the ban occurred get an exemption, we believe it's best practice that everybody does the right thing, irrespective of whether you're feeling well or not. They haven't brought this directive in on a whim. They believe that this can certainly impact on the potential spread of the virus, and anything that we can do to support that is going to make a big difference. So please, hear it from me. If you've travelled interstate over the last few days, please do not send your children to school. Please do the right thing by everybody and look after your kids. Keep them at home and then bring them back when they have self-isolated. In this way, we keep everybody safe as possible. And I hope that directive and clear request from me will answer some of the concerns that have been raised by some of the families here at the school. It is our expectation that everybody will be making not just the convenient decision, but making a decision in the best interest of everybody concerned in our communities. And by staying home, even if you're feeling great, protects all of us. And that's a critically important factor to take into place. Now, secondly, the government has said is that schools are going to remain in South Australia open, but that fairly soon there is a significant potential that that's going to change. From what we're gathering, it would indicate, and I know that this can change, but at this stage, it's going to be indicating that our gut feel is that probably the beginning of next term, that schools are going to look a lot different, and that governments are going to be strongly requesting that families keep their children home from school, but that those who are involved in essential services, those who are involved in our health services, in our police services, and any allied services like that, schools will need to remain open to look after families, children to ensure that those people who are involved in our emergency services can continue to do their job. Tyndale, therefore, will comply with that and make sure that, as required by the government, we will be as open as possible for those families. We will also be open for families who come to see us and are able to demonstrate that having their children staying at home will be simply crippling to them as a family in regards to their financial capacity to keep going. We will have conversations with those families. So please, if that you consider yourself to be in that category, please come and see us. We will obviously be directed by government in regards to how much we can do that, but our heart will be to also remain open to those families who desperately need their children at school so that they can continue to work and continue to provide for their families. To block those families, I believe, would have a significant detrimental cost to not just them, but to the rest of us. Because if we're not looking after each other in our community, then we've lost the heart of being a community. In that regard, we still strongly encourage those of you who have children or direct family members who are at significant risk to this virus. They sit in any vulnerable category. And so if you have family members, older family members who currently live with you in your homes, or if you have children with medical conditions, please make the determination to keep your children at home wherever possible so that they also can remain safe. There are a few other things that we want to chat about as well. Please, in regards to staying home or making a decision not to bring your kids to school, please understand that in these extraordinary circumstances, we will absolutely sit with you and have a conversation about what that means about school fees and everything else. We want you to not only be safe and healthy, but we want you to know that when this thing's all over, that everybody gets back to being at Tyndale. We don't want to lose families. You are important to us. We want you to be able to come back to be with us. And so therefore, we will walk a journey that enables you to do that. And if finances become very difficult, please, as I've said before, do not hesitate to contact any of our principals or business managers at our 2 regional schools. Have that conversation with them and we will try to put something into place. It has been our commitment that we are going to fight tooth and nail to keep everybody here and that we can get through this all together and that we can move on together as a community. Okay, we recognise that potentially we're going to be very much involved in at-home learning next term. I want to let you know that we are working really hard still to make sure that we've got the very best offering that we can give you in regards to at-home learning, online learning, that will enable your children to be able to continue to receive an education. It's really important to know, though, that it is not going to look the same. Firstly, they're not going to have their teachers there watching over their shoulder. They're going to have to learn, children, young children as well as older children, some self-reliance in terms of getting on with their work. There will be work available for them, and it's going to be up to you as families working with your children to ensure that they're getting on with it. The second thing is that while we may provide them with work that would normally cover 6.5 hours at school, it's going to look different at home. There's going to be 1 or 2 children working at their own pace on that work without 24, 25 other children in the class competing for the teacher's attention. They're just going to have to get on with it. It is absolutely more than likely that your children will actually finish that work faster than the normal period time that they would have had, it would have taken them at school. So that means that you just need to be prepared that your children may not be sitting at a desk in your lounge room working from 8:25 all the way through to 3:15 and that they then have enough work to fill all that gap. Some days they may, some days they may not. So just be aware that it won't look the same, it won't take the same. By the very nature of it being at-home learning, it's going to look different and feel different. You're also going to just have to work through the fact that some of them are going to absolutely take to this idea of being able to work at their own pace at home really well. Others are going to find it very difficult. Others are going to find that there are going to be distractions. Others are going to find that there's going to be a motivation issue. Others are going to find that they're not coping with some of the work that they're doing. And we're going to be working as hard as we can from our side. But there's going to be periods of time where, as families, you're going to have to work out how you manage that. Please be in contact with us, and we will try to support you as much as possible. Next, a couple of things that we want to continue to stress to you. First thing is that we are continually looking at our hygiene practices here at school and our physical distancing here at school. The reality is that we are encouraging our young people to be washing their hands and doing it properly at least 5 times a day outside of when they have to use the bathroom. So we are trying to get them into a really good habit of doing that throughout the day. We really need to get them through the next 2.5 weeks before Easter. We really want to encourage you that the practices that we're putting in at school here now, that if we go to at-home learning, that they continue to do that at home and keep themselves healthy and safe. Please, if you choose to keep your children home for the rest of this term, as a number of you are doing, and you've made that determination, whether it's because they're vulnerable or because you just feel that you want to isolate them for the rest of this term, we completely support your decision to do that. But please remember, if you are going to self-isolate them, please make sure they stay home. It's not going to be much point keeping them home for school if you then take them out all day to the shopping centre and everything else. We want to encourage you that if you feel that it's necessary to keep them home, then keep them home safe and to get them engaged in staying home, doing some work, so that when and if it happens next term when most of us are home, that they're already into good practices. You can actually get a really good head start with your kids in terms of helping them get into a new regime of work and a new daily organising, and that they can follow those things into good habits. Please make sure that hygiene is a number one priority. The second one is that we're looking at more restrictions in place. While we're still open, we still want to make sure that the place is as safe as possible for everybody. So I do need to let you know that as of this afternoon, that at all 3 schools, while we love you and appreciate you and everything that you do for us, there will be no more parents or volunteers in classrooms. Now, I know that this is quite an impost, especially amongst our junior ones, but it's another way in which we can limit any potential spread of the virus. So please bring your children to school, say hello to everybody, but then hand them over to the staff, and we will need to be able to get on with our day without parents or volunteers or caregivers or grandparents or anybody else coming into the classrooms. This will include resource centres and anywhere else that parent volunteers have been helping out within the school. We're so grateful for the support that you provide us in this way, but we've got 2.5 weeks to get through and before the holidays, and we just want to make sure that we are making as many responsible decisions as possible. Finally, I need to let you know that on Thursday, we hope, and there'll be more information coming out, we are doing a trial day. All the students will be here at school for those that are currently attending, and we will be doing a trial day. For those who are at home, they'll need to have their devices ready and they'll be able to link into it as well. But we want to do a trial day to see whether our system actually works effectively, because we don't know what we don't know, and we are really hopeful that by running this for the first time while everyone's still here, that we can iron out any unforeseen wrinkles in the system, and we can make sure that we can move into next term when and if they start to make further restrictions on schools, we can do that as seamlessly as possible. We're really trying hard. We thank you for your patience with us. We thank you that while you may be feeling anxious, that you continue to trust us with your children. We're sitting at about 75% attendance rate across our 3 schools, and we're very grateful that you continue to send your children to us so that we can keep education going. We know that you will have concerns. We know that as things continue to escalate, that those concerns will continue to rise. Let's just keep talking to each other, keep having the conversations, and keep working together to ensure that our community and our wider nation is as safe as possible we can get through this. As I said at the very beginning, if you're unwell or if you've travelled, please stay home, look after yourselves, and come back to us when we're ready, or until we move into the next phase of at-home learning here at Tyndale Christian School. God bless you. Let's keep looking to Him, keep trusting in each other and His grace and mercy over us. And I know that we're going to get through this together and come out the other side of it a stronger community into the future. God bless. Thanks very much for listening.